Hello everyone, welcome to lesson 11 of how to use Python and Blender to create a more advanced model. In the last lesson, we actually finished all of our animations, because I know we had 5 animations, but then added the tank collapsing animation. So that's kind of 6, but it's still we still finished. So what are we gonna do now that we finished? Well, we're gonna try to make this like a movie. We're gonna add cameras and stuff to it to make it feel like a movie. So we're gonna add cameras, camera view in it. So the cameras like zoom in and zoom out of all these different places to show what's happening, and that's gonna be pretty cool. So obviously, we're gonna put this code in between the animation timeline part and here, the cloth mod part. I added a few comments to the cloth mod part. Alright, so comment camera and camera, and our default position is going to be, so our camera's default position, like, but it's just self-explanatory, it's the default position. It's gonna be overlooking the whole model. So that's gonna be frames 1 through like around the first animation, which is frame 30. So it's like around 1 to like 28. And actually, I have a very badly drawn model, and I actually misspelled animations. I put 2 N's in the title, but I have this very badly drawn timeline at the bottom showing the things posterity. These are all the positions and angles of the camera that it's gonna show. Position C, rotation D, and then obviously we have the points over here showing the frames it's gonna work. It's gonna be in, and you can see. So this is before the first animation, which is over here. This is the original timeline, which is 30, but this is going to be 1 through 28. So beginning of the whole thing until 2 frames before the animation starts. Default position. The whole scene. Position A equals vector 7.5, negative 7.5, 3.5. So that's just the position where it's gonna look at the whole model. It's like around here. It's close to like this part, or somewhere close to that. BP, okay, so that's position A with these coordinates. So now we're gonna make sure our Blender knows that's gonna be those coordinates where the camera is. So objects.camera at location equals position A dot X, position A dot Y, position A dot Z. So default location for our camera is now set. Now we give it a name in Python. vpy.context object, which cam is its name for the camera. So cam is the camera's name, and the position A is the default position. And then cam, that name for Blender is the main camera. And then bp.context. Let's see, dot camera equals cam. So telling it it's cam is the camera. Okay, now I got the keyframes for camera. So if you go back to the very beautiful timeline, you can see the keyframes the camera angles and positions will be at. So we're setting those for one of them. Let's make this a bit fancy. View A, back or above, back and above the fluid domain. So I changed the fluid domain to wire. So to make back and above, I think it's over here, the fluid domain. So we gotta give the domain another name, domain.data, stop get fluid domain. So it's now called domain, so you can use it. So we're gonna use this rotation. Rotation A equals domain dot location minus position A dot to track plot negative Z negative Y dot to Euler. Okay, and if you look at this code, add pipe, you can see it's the code we just wrote is actually really similar to this part. Rotation back dot to track chord Z Y dot to Euler. So they're both about rotation, and we're just giving it like to track this, so it has a good angle. Domain dot location, so location minus position A, which is going to get us the good angle we want to capture this whole part. Oh yeah, also to capture this whole thing, the camera's gonna be looking at the domain. So yeah. But you may be wondering, why is it negative Z over here, but Z over here? That's because in Blender, the camera is actually always pointing down, so negative Z, because Z is up, negative Z is down. So since it's always pointed down, negative Z is just kind of the way it's facing, so it's just going to move negative Z. Alright, now for view, actually let's make this fancy as well. View B, focus on valves 5, 6, 7, and vent. Position B equals vector 4, negative 3, 2. Okay, so we have the, actually this is wrong, keyframes for camera. I thought we were gonna put it here, but no, I forgot. Okay, So anyways, we're just making the views for now, and and defining the positions and rotations. So right now we have the vector for position B, very similar to position A, which is default. However, define angle camera. Now go to create a diff function to try to find the angle of the camera for each one, for each part. Names of target objects. So points. And that could be a list. bpy.data.objects n dot location for n is names of target objects. So this is a list of the points for all the names, like for every position, like for the position of the camera. um, you're going to like put them in a list called points, like the points you want for the position of the camera, so which is like 5, 6, 7. Which is what the angle is looking at. Min C equals vector min. So the minimum coordinates for all the points in here. So we're just doing it for all 3 coordinates. So that's min C. So we're gonna find the center. So we're gonna find the min C and the max C, and get the average to get the center, and then we use that center to help find the rotation, which is what this angle. Oops, I forgot you shouldn't have a space there. Which is what the angle of the camera is gonna do. Max C goes vector max P dot x for P in points, max P dot y for P in points, then max P dot z for P in points. Oh yeah, vector 2 parentheses. So now we have center B, which is min C plus max D times 0.5. Rotation camera is center B minus position camera dot 2 track quad negative negative Z negative Y 2 Euler. Okay, so that's why I had to go with all that to get the center B, so we can find like the center point between all of them, all the 5, 6, 7. So we can put that over here, minus position camera, to get the angle we needed, and then That's what we're going to return. Alright, so names. So we're going to do this. Names of target objects. Names. Valve 5 handle. So just putting in all the points. Valve 6 handle. Valve 7 handle. Valve vent handle. Five, six, seven, and vent. I forgot to say vent earlier when I was explaining it. Rotation B is angle camera, which should be names. Okay, so I use this angle camera to get the rotation B. Okay, now we can actually do some of the keyframe things that I mistakenly put in earlier. So keyframes, then the frame, the position, the rotation. Those are the important parts. Now, keyframes list. So the first thing, shoot the whole scene, is going to be the default part. So one position A, rotation A, valve opening start frame -2, position A, rotation A. Okay. So that's the whole scene. And if you look back on the timeline, position A, rotation A is pre-scene, the default, and then position B, rotation B is shooting animation 1. So this whole thing is to shoot the whole scene with position A and then rotation A, and then those frames following start frame -2. So 1 to -2. And then here is shoot the first animation, which is valves opening and closing. Valve opening start frame -1. So 1 frame before the valve opening start frame, which would get you 29, close enough to 28, I guess. Position B and rotation B, valve closing end frame +1 plus B, rotation B. Okay, so we're just telling it what to shoot, and okay, I should add this comma here. Alright, so now everything works perfectly. We're gonna do the rest of these. next episode, because they're gonna take not as long as these two things. So yeah, keyframes for position A and the thingy. It's like very laggy right now. So I'll just come back to you when it stops lagging as much. Alright, I'm back and it's less laggy. So right now the camera is wonky. However, this is only because, well, we're not done with the code yet. We still have a we still have one more lesson left before we finish the camera part. So that's why if you uh, enter it using this button over here, toggle the camera view, it'll look very wonky because it's not pointing at the target. However, that is it for this lesson today, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.